The last signal. The radio crackled to life in Maya Chen's trembling hands, static mixing with distant screams. 3 years since the world ended and she still jumped at every sound. The abandoned radio tower stretched above her like a skeletal finger pointing accusingly at the gray Virginia sky. "This is Alexandria. Anyone out there? We're running low on medical supplies." Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. She'd been tracking radio signals for months, mapping survivor settlements across the Commonwealth. As a former emergency broadcast technician, she understood something most didn't. Information was the most valuable currency in this dead world. The tower groaned in the wind. Walkers shuffled below, drawn by some phantom sound, their rotted fingers scraping against rusted metal. Maya counted 12. Manageable if she was careful. She'd learned to be careful after losing her daughter to a herd outside Richmond. Sarah's small hand slipping from hers haunted every quiet moment. The guilt was a constant companion, whispering that she should have been faster, stronger, better. Maya descended the tower's rickety ladder, each rung a calculated risk. The Glock 19 at her hip felt reassuring, one of the few things that hadn't let her down. Her backpack contained precious cargo, medical supplies she'd scavenged from a hospital in Norfolk, and detailed maps of safe routes between settlements. The first walker turned as her boots hit the ground, milky eyes fixed on her with primal hunger. Maya drew her knife, a camping blade she'd sharpened obsessively. The walker stumbled forward, arms outstretched, and she stepped aside at the last second, driving the blade up through its soft palate. The body crumpled. Movement to her left. 2 more, their decomposing faces slack with mindless need. Maya's breathing steadied as muscle memory took over. Duck, pivot, strike. The knife found its mark again. And again. But walkers were rarely the real problem. Well, what do we have here? The voice froze her blood. Maya spun to find 3 men emerging from the tree line, assault rifles trained on her chest. Their clothes were clean, too clean for scavengers. The leader, a thin man with cruel eyes, stepped forward. "You've been busy up there, haven't you? Intercepting our communications?" Maya's hand inched toward her pistol. "I don't know what you're talking about. Marcus Chen's daughter, right? The radio girl?" The man's smile was predatory. "Your daddy did good work for us before he got bit. Shame about that." Her father's name hit like a physical blow. Maya had thought his death was random bad luck. "You knew my father?" "Knew him? Hell, we employed him. Right up until he started getting ideas about sharing information with the wrong people." The rifle barrel shifted slightly. Just like his daughter. The sound of engines roared from the highway. A convoy of black vehicles approached, 2 organized, 2 military. Maya's blood ran cold as she recognized the emblem painted on their doors. The Commonwealth. But these weren't Commonwealth soldiers. The uniforms were wrong, the vehicles too pristine. Private military contractors, maybe? Or something worse. "Time to go, sweetheart. Our employers have questions." Maya's mind raced through options. 3 armed men, nowhere to run, and whoever was in those vehicles would arrive in seconds. Her fingers found the radio clipped to her belt, still broadcasting on the emergency frequency. She keyed the transmit button. "This is Maya Chen broadcasting from coordinates 37.2431 degrees north, 77.4010 degrees west. Unknown hostile force attempting capture. If anyone can hear this." The rifle but caught her in the temple. Stars exploded across her vision as she hit the ground hard. Through the ringing in her ears, she heard the lead man cursing. "Stupid bitch just broadcast our location to half the Commonwealth." The convoy screeched to a halt. Car doors slammed. Maya fought to stay conscious as boots surrounded her. A woman's voice cut through the chaos, authoritative, deadly calm. "What's the situation?" "Target acquired, but she just compromised our position on an open channel." Maya forced her eyes open. The woman standing over her wore tactical gear that had seen real combat. Scars crossed her weathered face, and her dark hair was pulled back severely. She carried herself with the confidence of someone who'd survived by making hard choices. "You're the radio operator we've been hunting." It wasn't a question. Maya Chen, daughter of Marcus Chen, former emergency broadcast coordinator for the Richmond Emergency Management Office. "Who's asking?" Maya's voice came out stronger than she felt. The woman knelt beside her. "Someone who knew your father. He was a good man who made a bad choice. He started broadcasting locations of Commonwealth supply runs to survivor groups. Cost us a lot of resources." Maya's world tilted. Her father, gentle, methodical Marcus Chen who taught her Morse code over breakfast. had been running interference against these people? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, the woman continued. You've been tracking our movements for weeks. Very thorough work. Almost as good as your father's. The radio on Maya's belt suddenly crackled with a familiar drawl. This is Daryl. Heard your transmission, Maya. You still breathing? Everyone froze. Maya's heart leaped. She'd been monitoring Daryl Dixon's group for months, tracking their movements through the Commonwealth territories. He was maybe 10 miles out based on the signal strength. The woman's expression hardened. Dixon. Of course. She stood, gesturing to her men. Load her up. We leave now. Maya, if you can hear this, key your radio twice for yes. Maya's thumb found the transmit button. Click, click. Copy that. Help's coming. Sit tight. The woman snatched the radio and smashed it against the asphalt. Not today, Dixon. As they hauled Maya toward the convoy, she caught sight of movement in the distant trees. A glint of sunlight on metal, a crossbow bolt, perhaps. Hope flickered in her chest. The vehicles roared to life, tires spinning on loose gravel. Maya found herself zip-tied in the back of an armored SUV between two silent guards. Through the reinforced windows, she watched the radio tower disappear behind them. Her father's voice echoed in her memory, "Information is power, Maya. But power without purpose is just noise." She'd spent 3 years collecting signals, mapping the new world that had emerged from the ashes of the old. Now she understood why. Her father had been building a network, not just of radio frequencies but of people. Survivors who deserved to know where the threats were, where safety could be found. The convoy turned onto Interstate 95, heading south toward Richmond. Maya closed her eyes and began to count. Distances, time intervals, landmark references. If she survived this, she'd need to remember every detail. Behind them, hidden by the treeline, Daryl Dixon lowered his binoculars and keyed his radio. This is Daryl. Package is mobile, heading south on 95. I'm in pursuit. Carol, you copy? The static-filled response crackled through the air. Copy that. Negan's group is 20 minutes out from your position. Maggie's en route from Hilltop with a full complement. Maya didn't hear the transmission, but she felt it in her bones. The subtle shift in the world's momentum. Her father's network was still alive, still fighting. And now she was part of something bigger than survival. Something worth dying for. The convoy disappeared into the wasteland, carrying its precious cargo toward an uncertain fate. But in the abandoned spaces between the dead and the living, hope had a way of finding the most unexpected messengers. Maya Chen was about to discover just how far her father's signal could reach.